Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This journey has honestly had its ups and downs, but I'm so happy that I'm on it. And I kind of want to talk about being on it because I think that that is like a great conversation to be having. I usually have been trying to move in the direction of more kind of outlined and scripted videos, but I kind of wanted to chill because it was getting a little intense and just talk. I think effort is important, but I also think that authenticity and connection is also very important. So that's kind of what I want to bring to the table today. And I want to talk about free will. So the first thing I want to do is kind of give an update on my journey. The first video that I kind of posted when I started this journey very intentionally was about perfection and about creating. And during it, I've kind of talked about locus of control. And honestly, I think that that has played a huge role in my life, especially recently. I feel like it's more, I don't know, noticeable. And I kind of want to give more energy to it. And so, just like a brief refresher, there are two different types of locus of control. There is internal and there is external. And for a long time, I was very externally motivated, and I kind of moved into internal motivation. And so basically, if you're externally motivated, it's kind of like life is happening to you. And if you're internally motivated, it's like you're happening to life. And so I think that this is so important because the way that we perceive life has a huge impact in what we do with our lives. And like, I kind of, the thing that a conversation that has been brought up in like my psychology classes in the past was about like if we truly have free will. And I believe that we do. But an observation that I made is that we have free will, but it matters where we direct that free will. I am so sorry. I'm keeping this this should not be in frame. I already look like I'm psychotic with these drugs, but this should not be in frame. I think that our free will can be directed in different directions, and so we might be putting our like all of our energy or our attention in a direction that is not fostering growth. It is not fostering um us to move in any specific direction, and it causes us to be very stagnant. I think when we think that we don't have control over our lives, there's truth to that for an extent and to an extent. And so, like, when I was a kid, yeah, I didn't really have that much control over my life. And I kind of just made the best with what was set in front of me. And that habit followed me into adulthood. And I think that that really carved out how I interacted with people and how I perceived other people and how I thought that the world worked. And when I went through a phase where bad things were constantly happening to me and it just felt like it was being served to me and I had no power to do anything about it, I was very pessimistic. I was very frustrated because in the past, usually like your parents, guardians, people who care about you, they're the ones that hand things to you and they're like, here, like, this is what you need to do with. And that is if you're in a blessed situation. I am totally aware that you might not be in a blessed situation and people don't have your best interests at heart. But regardless, things are handed to you. And for me, when things were handed to me, it was like, this isn't the best thing, but I'm going to make it the best of it. But there are some things that you can't make the best of. Just there are some things that are just fact. It's just like, okay, like it's just sitting there and I have to interact with it. And when a lot of those things came to me where it's like, it's going to be super hard to find the positives, it's so easy to find 100 of the negatives, that really impacted how I approached life and how I perceived it. And I was very pessimistic. I was very unhappy. And so when I decided to change my perspective and actually take my life as my responsibility and not this responsibility of someone else, it changed it and like changed it for the better and changed it thoroughly. I used my free will to make the best of the situations that were in front of me. And I then made the decision to use my free will to make situations happen, to change what was in front of me. So I think that that is very like empowering, and you can do that in your life in little sections. And so as I kind of just continued on my journey when it came to that stuff, I found that like there is so much that I can do that I decide not to do because I am stuck in the mindset that something has to be perfect. I am stuck in the mindset that I can't mess up, I can't make mistakes. It has to be perfect the first time. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be perceived. And honestly, that is a great way to dim your light. That's a great way to make it so that you are never perceived, that you are never really like where you want to be. And so I really encourage everyone to kind of look at their own lives and try and figure out where your free will is going. Because I promise you it's there. You just might not be using it in the way that you really want to. And eradicate the fear that if I do decide to use my free will in the way that I want to, that something bad will happen. Because you know what? Bad things happen regardless. When you have a very external locus of control, when you think that everything is happening to you and stuff like that, you don't really think about the fact that whether I shift my focus and take things into my control or whether I don't, bad things are going to happen, period. And like, you might think that it's more comfortable to sit with the consequences of this external mindset action. Like you might be thinking like it I would rather come across consequences that I am more familiar with or have experienced before than trek through a new jungle and encounter experiences that really hurt or that I'm terrified of. But what we do need to remember as well is that our perception of things is always skewed. Like we always think that something is worse than it is. Like our brains love to hyperbolize, and that hyperbolization is for protection. But we need to be able to push through in order to experience what the reality of those consequences are. Because I can sit here and be like, I don't want to do that because what if someone, like, I don't want to make a video because what if someone finds the video and they watch it and they're like, ooh, stupid Brooklyn's trying to make a video and this video was really bad and this video sucked. What if no one ever watches my videos? What if I try for years and years and put my effort and put my heart out there and it doesn't lead to anything? And that is scary, right? That's something to be fearful of. What if I put myself out there? If I take this risk of something that I have been wanting my entire life and it doesn't pan out in the way that I want it, it leads to a dead end. And I think that we're scared of dead ends, but I think that shifting your focus and being like, you know what else is a dead end? Never sitting down and filming the video in the first place. What else is a dead end? Never trying at all. You're creating your own dead end instead of allowing possibilities to occur from you acting. And we need to stop being scared of existing and living our own lives. And I understand how scary it can be. I've gone through a couple things these last 2 weeks that have my anxiety levels, and if you haven't noticed, there's a gap between my head and my hand because my body could not contain the levels of anxiety that I had for like these events or things that were happening. It was like I'm so uncomfortable in my body because I'm doing something that I've never done before and I'm scared and my body is reacting as though I am in physical danger, and that is uncomfortable and I hate it. But that's a part of living. And I think that we all need to come to terms with living is uncomfortable. And if it's comfortable, you're doing something wrong. Like we need I remember I was doing something that was very like I had never done before. It was very scary like to me personally. Am I going to share it? No, because I don't feel like being embarrassed right now. But embarrassment is honestly just a mindset, so it's irrelevant. Anyway, I was doing something that was very scary and I told myself it was crazy. I was feel like I think that my heart could be heard by people outside of my own body. And I was very anxious, I was very scared, and I was like, "Brooklyn, you're going to be so proud of yourself after this is done." And I kept telling myself that. I was like, "You're just going to be proud of yourself when you get through this." And it lasted a full like a maybe 10 minutes. Like the thing that I had to do was like 10 minutes long. I finished. I left, I felt so good. I was on a high. And that high that I have, it's almost uncomfortable too when I experience like genuine excitement. I was just in a meeting and I got out and I was like, I wanted to run around the house. Like, I do feel like my emotions are too big for my body. So if someone would like half, I'm selling. But yeah, I feel like it's so weird. Like my knees look disconnected from my body right now. Anyway, but like that feeling of happiness, like of being proud of myself for doing something that I was scared of, was part of living. It was like the high of like jumping out of a plane, you know, where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so scared. The anticipation, like I should know, but I don't know if that's dopamine because it was a little bit maybe dopamine mixed with an anxiety disorder. But what I feel before I do something scary is so uncomfortable. And when I feel what I feel after is so much more like, okay, we can relax. And I'm so like happy and proud of myself. And that those feelings are a part of life. Like it doesn't hit as hard. And honestly, probably from me consuming all the data that is in the world, probably from me watching shows, feeling like I've lived 1,000 lives without actually living it. And all of those, my mirror neurons are going crazy. They're watching it and being like, here's the emotion, here's what's going on, but it's damp in comparison to actually living my life. And so I think that we should fight through those uncomfortable moments because I do think that they lead to something 10 times better. Even when I'm filming a video, I don't get super anxious when I'm filming or anything, but I do get a high after of being like, wow, I just did that. That was so fun. Like, I'm so glad I got to sit down and like yap. And it felt like it's going somewhere. And I think that is something that I love about this journey. It feels like I'm saving a part of me and that it's going somewhere and people care about it. And that is a great feeling. And I encourage everyone to be able to kind of challenge themselves, step outside of the norms, be that person, like learning how to embrace the ups and the downs of life. I have such trouble living in the moment, but I think that it's worth it. Like it's worth living in the moment. And I don't want to be like insensitive to those who are in situations where genuinely disconnecting from reality feels better than living in it. But I do want to say that regardless of your situation, regardless of where you are, what age you are, find your free will. Like it's somewhere. It's somewhere in your life. There is somewhere where there is free will. Find it and redirect it in a direction that you're scared to direct it in. And I hope that that changes your life for the better as it changed mine. And I'm really glad that I got to sit down and talk to you guys about that. And I'm glad that I didn't like structure it a lot and it was just chill. Like I had some tea, it's chamomile because I needed to calm down after that meeting. And it matches my pants. I love a mug. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to move to my Come As You Are segment really quick and just say a few words. But if you guys don't want to stick around, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for hanging out with me. I miss you guys. And I feel like I'm being a little bit more active. I've been a little bit more active this week, a singing video and my shorts. Like, okay, I see me. But anyway, I would love to see a comment. I would love a like. I would love a subscribe. And I would love you guys to join my community. And I want to honestly just inspire all of us to live. I think that it's so important. And yeah, it's important because we're human. And living is more than just breathing, you know? So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next week if this is where we part. But let's move on to the Come As You Are segment. So, real quick, I'm not going to talk too long in this part, but I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience with free will in relation to my faith and my Christianity. And I think in the process of changing my locus of control into something that's more internal, I think there is an aspect of humility that has to come with that for it to truly be successful in my life. And that came with kind of submitting my plans and my desires to God because I don't want to be somewhere where God doesn't want me to be because I truly believe that he has a plan for everyone's life and we do have free will to go in whatever direction that we want, but God really plotted out the best course of action for our lives. And so I just want to be there. This last summer I did an internship and it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I really was at my wit's end. Like, girl, I needed a psychiatrist at that point. But after, even though the experience was not a 10 out of 10, I was so happy that I did it because, first of all, I made long lasting friendships, which is always a win. And second of all, I grew so much. I grew my independence, I grew my ability to handle hard situations. And while I wasn't perfect and there are a lot of things that I wish I did differently, I'm glad that I did it. And like, I think we always tend to harp on the mistakes that we made, but I think that we should also be able to highlight the accomplishments that came with those mistakes and the things that we learned from those mistakes because there's positive things that come from those things. And I think we should concentrate on positivity and then move forward. So I think that for me, the ability to submit my plans, my desires, where I go next in life to God, especially in this season of like I'm graduating and there's a lot of like, oh, I don't know what's coming next. I'm not sure. But I think that it's so important to, first of all, be able to live in the moment. And second of all, be able to trust that there's somebody looking out for me, trust that he knows where I'm going, trust that I don't have to stress so much about it because there's someone who knows what's best for me and those doors will open in due time. And that doesn't stop me from doing my part. I really do try and open as many doors, but I refuse to walk through one unless I am sure that that's the door God wants me to walk through. And I think that that is so important in life. Like, I think it's so important to be able to submit your plans to Him if you're seeking growth, if you're seeking to draw closer, if you're seeking to challenge yourself. Because while happiness is always a goal for me, I think joy is much better. And I think that becoming a better person, as I preach on this channel, is the most important thing to me. Like, developing myself and my character is so important to me. So, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in the Come As You Are segment. So, now final goodbyes. I will see you guys next weekend. I am so happy that you guys decided to stay for this segment. If you did, I am so happy that you decided to click on this video at all. I'm so happy about my journey and where I'm going. And I wish blessings upon all of you. So, I'll see you guys next weekend.